Please enjoy parts 1 and 2 if you have time prior to this video. It will help it make a lot more sense. Thank you. You have to keep watching to find out what all this has to do with Paisley Park and Prince. It takes a really long time to get there, but if you've watched part 1 and part 2, and now we're on part 3, I try to think of myself as if I were viewing my channel, what I would want to know, and I would probably be thinking, hurry up and tell me what this has to do with Prince and or Paisley Park, but I've been doing that for 3 years. So anyway, in this video, after I talk about Biden's Build Back Better and the PI code, then I'm going to cut to why all these people, the government's, the Merovingian bloodline, what the deep cover at Paisley Park, the torture, the MK Ultra practices, the reason for all the screaming, and darker things that I don't even want to talk about right now. But I'm trying to bring it to you in the most orderly fashion that I can, but I'm telling you again, if you don't watch all the videos, it might not make sense. So the more you watch, the more it will make sense, even if you have to watch it more than once, because Creator tells it to me and I have to listen to it more than once and write it down and read it and think it and see it in visions and hear it before I get brave enough to come and say it. So anyway, these slideshows and stuff that I put together, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and put on your listening ears. It's all I can ask. And I always say, you know, listen with your soul, because your soul will know that I'm telling the truth. You can tell that I'm not crazy, but I'm just crazy enough to do this job, and I love it. Not have it no other way. And thank you guys for watching. I'm going to cut to how Biden's Build Back Better plan, the gematria that I'm going to show you in that is sort of intense, so hang in there. I'm not going to describe it all, but the picture that I'm going to show you is, I want to explain it to you before I show it to you. Here, I'll show it to you and then I'll explain it. So check this out. The top row right here is the Hebrew Aleph Bet. Reading from left to right, the first letter. So for instance, over here, we have Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, and so on. So there's only 22 consonant letters in that top row, okay? Now in the second row right here, that's just the alphabet, English alphabet, ABCs, and that of course is 26. Now down here in the third row, what that is and represents is, if you remember from, I don't know where my camera is because it's sideways. If you remember from parts 1 and 2, I showed you the Latin gematria alphabet, and for each letter there is a number. So when you encode that same English alphabet to that Latin alphabet, this is the way that the code looks. 1 2 3 4 5 8 3 5 1 1 2 3, etc., and then the 8. So that's what that third row is. Now I'm going to make this make sense to you, don't worry. And then what the last row is here is just the English alphabet numerically with the zeros dropped. So here when we get to number 10 right here, you can see I just drop off the zeros so that it doesn't take up space. So when it says 9 1 1 2 3, isn't that interesting? Because it gives us the pi equation that I'm always talking about, as well as 911, and we're in the year 2023. So I just thought I would mention that. There's a lot that I could explain here, but I'm trying to stick to Biden's Build Back Better, because what happens when you do this with the alphabet is, so here's the Hebrew, here's the English, here's the Latin, and then numerically the English. But what I want you to see is in the year, see how this says 20, 21, 22, 23. That's because T is the 20th letter, and so on. So the year 2020 is when COVID-19 lockdown came, okay? And it's also when the 46th president, Biden, took office. And now he's implementing his Build Back Better program, which is represented here because in the Latin, U, V, and W are valued at 666. I didn't do this. This is what gematria and mathematics and closeness to the Creator explains to you. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that with the wisdom of the beast in Revelation 13:18, Biden's Build Back Better, or 666 alphanumerically, fits that equation when we do our mathematics and our research and studies. At least that's what it says to me. And would it be a coincidence here that it happened in 2020 and that he took office in 2021, which is the first 6? No, none of this is a coincidence. So this list that I was talking about with the Build Back Better 666, this is the Latin alphabet I was referring to from part 2. You can see where the number 6 is equal to U, V, and W. So when you go back up here to the alphabet, that's why I have 666 where the UVW is. So that is equivalent to the Build Back Better for the Biden's infrastructure program. Here, of course, he was sworn in as the 46th president, which again is opposite of 94, the 9-4 that equals the 13th for the 13th bloodline. The Build Back Better agenda is here. Touched a little bit on that if you want to go look at it. First part was passed as 1.9 trillion. So what is 1.9? It is the same pi, 9/1/1916, that we were talking about before, you guys. So it is all part of a grand cover-up scheme. It's just the Creator that allows me to put all these things together for you. Haven't you guys had it with being lied to with politics and moon landings and NWO religious crises and submarines sinking to find the Titanic, which I described the mathematics of in part 2? Haven't you had it with the fake illusions? The Creator told me that he was going to continue to let us see illusions until they got so dark that you had no other choice but to call out to the Creator, because you guys don't know how dark things actually are. I saw it from the other side, and it's really dark and very sexual and very dark and very physical. And the more through the New Testament creation of Jesus being your Savior and the Pope and the Georges and the Build Back Betters, yes, they are all in cahoots. The George Soros, yes, they are all working together with the cover Merovingian bloodline that took place at Paisley Park. Paisley Park was nothing more than a cover. And I have talked to you guys about the executive order by the president to keep the parts of the investigation a secret. I've shown you all the proof. I've talked to you about the Moline landings. There isn't a lot that I haven't covered as far as the investigation, but there's always more. So anyway, why and what does any of this presidential Pope stuff have to do with our Prince Rogers Nelson? It's because, as I'm trying to explain, we are all so much more than we know our souls to be. And when I passed into the other life, he told me how deeply my soul was attached to his. And by the last 40 years research and my life after death, I have to put all this stuff together and bring it to you. I'm sorry, I kind of forgot what I was going to say, but my brain works overtime. So you have to forgive me when I slip up like that. But the mathematics, the gematria, the numerics, it's all real, you guys. There's no denying it. Like people say they believe in science. You know, I'm showing you something that the world has never seen before that goes beyond science, beyond NASA, to the Creator. Like the Creator gives me this information to give you guys, because in the life after, we talked about a plan to uncover the darkness to the world. But before you can do that, I guess the darkness has to be seen. So it's being seen. I'm trying to uncover it. I'm trying to empower you to know that the Creator lives within you. That's how he lives in all of us. And that's why we get to know this information now, because he's working through me to give the information to you. So if anything, the information is very empowering. It's very spiritual, and if you truly listen to what I'm saying, then it will attach you to your belief that there is a creator beyond our ability to know him. And but we all do have a soul purpose, and I'm fulfilling mine by talking to you, even when I ramble. So the Build Back Better, you guys, I know the mathematics on that look weird, but they're not really weird. And if you actually go back and look at it, when you look at the Hebrew line, which is the first one, notice that the last four letters are KRST. What does that spell? Christ, or a version of. So that's how much of wordplay there is going. Go back and look at it. That's how much wordplay there is in taking Hebrew to English. And all I did in that paper was, you know, like I said, take the first letter of each of the Hebrew names and then write the English alphabet. You know, I explained it to you. So there's no denying what I'm saying. You could try, but who are you going to tell it to? So anyway, I'm coming here to help and to uncover hidden mysteries like Nancy Drew. And anyway, I'm going to go back to talking about building Biden's Build Back Better 666 program, how he is the 46th president, which is the opposite of 9/4. And then we're going to take it to a little bit more why and what it has to do with Paisley Park. So hang in there, you guys, because patience is required. I want you guys to please understand something. It's in the in the life after, when I was talking to the creator as he showed himself to me as Prince Rogers Nelson, and when he told me about this plan, I call it the anti-Christian plan or the anti-Christ plan. He told me, put your tinfoil hats on, that there was an NWO plan to make him to be some kind of antichrist alien. I don't know how, I don't know the exact specifics, but he did say that it was him that was going to be used. And he further showed me, I don't know, in the life after, the version of reality, these films or holographic proofs or something to show that he would look like he had done bad things or something like that. And so there's this huge freaking plan from the beginning of time until now. So when I say that the Pope and the presidents, the Georges, George Soros, when I say they're involved at Paisley Park, they are. This cover up, like, you guys, after carrying love for now 40 years, but at the time I died it was like 29 years. So standing there talking to the creator, as you know, Prince was crazy enough, but when he started telling me that there was some kind of plan to reveal him as an antichrist, because that was the reason for that, you guys, is because if you've watched my videos, you've heard me say that during each exchange, like say when World War I, 1914, that was around the same time that the Kingdom Hall was trying to say that Christ was going to come back, and they stood firm on what they were saying. And they went on the bridge in Brooklyn and waited for him and didn't come. So after that, they changed their tune. And just after that is when World War I started. So what I'm saying is the creator showed me that there was some kind of cover, because at that time, with the New World Order power transfers the way that they are, what they actually transfer is, or wanted to transfer, is like his energy, his power, his intellect, his power. I'm not sure exactly how. I'm going to try to say it in a little calmer manner. I get so excited, and the thoughts flow so quickly. You guys, I can't access the information readily like I can my own, information, but he told me that because of who he is, the creator, and because of the fact that he wasn't, or I'm not sure, wasn't fully human, because he showed himself to me in other aspects. And so there's the secret that's being told to the world and that is that UFOs are real now, and that there's, Texas landings with the officer getting it on his, camera, and all kinds of stuff about what the government is trying to uncover as alien. But what's beyond wild, you guys, is the fact that I was told in the afterlife that he told me that he was going to be used as this antichrist alien. And when I cried so hard, it was devastating. It still is. I'm just good at hiding things, and I'm trying to be good at revealing them by coming here and talking, no matter what the world thinks of me, because one day you're gonna love me for doing what I'm doing, because I love me, because the Creator loves me, and He loves you too. And He wants to expose Himself to us. And if it weren't for me being the soul that I am on the inside that He created, He wouldn't be able to use me for this purpose. But I try with all of my heart and soul to make myself as available to Him as I can. Wouldn't you? You can, if you talk to Him and do your Hitbodadoo, which is just personal prayer with the Creator. He lives inside of us, and He gave each of us a piece of Himself when we were created. We each are made for His purpose. Like He made you, the viewer. You're made for His purpose. Whether or not you let Him reveal Himself through you is up to you. And that's where your free will comes in. So are you looking for your attachment to the Creator? And if so, are you looking inside of yourself? Or are you looking at the lie of the New Testament? I know it sounds crass, but hopefully you've seen enough of my videos to know that I can be that way sometimes, because I'm sick of the dark lies in the world. I'm sick of it. So anyway, you guys, this cover is as deep and dark as it comes, and I really have no idea what I was saying in the beginning, so I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch this and have a little more coffee, and I'll be back. I remembered what I was saying about the transfer of power. So the Kingdom Hall is behind a lot of this too. It's all very much a religious cover-up. So you're like, oh, make up your mind. Is it the Pope? Is it the Georges? Is it the Kingdom Hall? It's all of them, because they are the people that make up the New World Order. And what I was talking about as far as the transfer of power during wartime, I can't give you all the details because I don't remember them, but by way of Him being the Creator, and His consciousness is this power that is either been duplicated or they're working on duplicating at CERN, and it's done by way of electrocution and torture, and that's why the song Electric Chair, there's a lot of stuff that goes along with it. But each time, so the 1914 for the World War I, the way that I understand it, these nations that have been given the power to explain religion to our world did it in the very best way that they thought that they could control the masses, which is the New Testament, making you believe that you have to believe on a Jewish guy named Yeshua, who fell off the Jewish path and fell into these hands of these people who, of course, they saw things that they had never seen before. They saw this shiny soul and these things, and then they made Him this God. Hey, why not put it in a book, and let's tell the world that Jesus is God. That'll teach them. That'll give them something to, stay in line with, to attach themselves to get money from, to control with. If you write a New Testament and you plan the beginning and you plan the end as an Armageddon, and then the Kingdom Hall steps in and preaches the Armageddon, the end of the world, and when that end of the world didn't come in 1914, there was like World War I, and then World War II in 1939 with the Pearl Harbor bombing just after that. From what I understand, the nations in this controlling way were supposed to, like, I don't know, make the Messiah come, or make the Creator reveal Himself, or something like that. But this is the thing, and listen closely, because this is the part that I do remember. The reason that wasn't being done, or let me say this better. The next people to come into power, to own, to use, to harness the power of the Creator, or something to that effect, was to be Asia. And they, with the whole North Korea thing, the KOREA, as I mentioned in part 2, they wanted to break down our creator as who he is before they went into power, as a condition of them being in power or something like that. Because when these huge things like 9/11 or wars or different things would take place, there's like a brainwashing of society. So if with what I remember in the Antichrist revealing that I was talking about, it has a lot to do with the Haleakala volcano in Maui and Asia. And that's the next part of this video that I'm going to get into. And I'm going to show you the code for Asia is the same as the Pi code, same as the 1916. And I'm going to show you what that has to do with Haleakala volcano and Maui itself, because one of the creators' name is Havaya Baruchu, and Havaya is a form of Hawaii in the intermingling of the changing of languages. So Maui and Hawaii and this creation and all the power that's there and how I got it when I was there in 2019, it's because of who the creator is, because he's everything. So of course he can be the land as well, and the world, and everything that sustains and empowers us and you and me and we. So I don't know. If you're not looking for something to connect your soul to, if you're not looking for real truth, this channel might not be for you. But if you're looking for that you ain't never heard before in your life, that's going to really point you to the creator and your own soul connection with him, I don't want you to come follow me. I don't want you to come give me money. I want you to connect your soul to the creator by knowing who he is and the lie that's been kept on the world. So I'm going to continue to expose it, and hopefully you're going to continue to listen. So off we go. So looking here at the name Asia, in an alphanumeric way, the letter A is valued at 1, S is number 19, I is actually the letter 9. I put it as 6 because oftentimes I read upside down. So it should read 1991. That's the code for Asia, because again, the ones duplicate so you can drop them. So think about, write it down if you want. A is 1, S is 19, I is 9, and A is 1 is again. Because they duplicate, what do we have? We have the code ID 19, which we're told what? Started in Wuhan. Okay, so the 1916 or the 69, you know the joke about 69, the 1916, the ID 19, it's all right here in the name of Asia. So it's really not that surprising what I'm telling you about what I heard in the life after about them supposedly being next to come into power. So more than that, I want you to know something. Their Japanese flag is also known as the rising sun, the red sun. Yeah, so it shows this rising sun, and the rising sun has 16 red rays. So again, we're talking about what? The ID 19 code. Are you with me yet? Do you want to be? ID 19. ID 19. ID 19. It is a bloodline. They wanted to put themselves into power so that they can control you, your intellect, your soul, your children's soul, lie to you about who your creator is, separate you from your connection to the creator. But that's not going to happen if you listen to me, please. The whole mathematical equation that I showed you, the Biden's 666, Build Back Better, even the mathematical equations here for the 808 and the 351. I haven't gotten into that because it's too much for this video. However, it has to do with the code for Maui, which is the 808, and it has to do with the creator, I am. So all of this stuff is very, very relevant. It's just not that easy to explain. What's relevant about Asia and Maui, you guys might not know, with Hawaii being out in the middle of nowhere. I believe it's it's the farthest habitable island that you can be. You know, when I went there, it's like 3,200 miles away from California or something. It's pretty extreme. And so my point is that what they have out there, they're trying to keep to themselves. And what does that have to do with Asia? Well, it has to do with why the Pearl Harbor bombing had to do with Asia also. And it has to do with Haleakala volcano. This part is really intense, and I hope that you listen. I'm not going to read all this small writing, but know this, that I talked about this in some other videos where I talk about Haleakala specifically, but after Hawaii was taken over and the king and queen dethroned, jailed, etc., America took over, made it their own. Haleakala became, a national park in 1916. So the 1916 code that we're talking about for Asia, as well as the ID-19, you're with me? The park was taken over by the government in 1916 after this Wilkes U.S. exploring expedition. So that's what they want to say anyway. And the reason I have milk written right there is because Wilk is like milk, and it's like got milk. They do all kinds of hidden holographics and space craft type research and a lot of other dark occult practices, I'm sure. Haleakala National Park, it's a dormant volcano, you guys. I showed you on the other videos. I was there. I took videos. It's all there. And now it's a national biosphere as of 1980, which means the government owns it even more. So they can do anything they want to do. Now, I want to try to explain to you what I have been told or what I've put together about why the name Haleakala. First of all, it has the A and the E, which is the 69, is also at the end of Korea, K or EA. Eastern European Union is a form of EA. So the whole 69, EA, everything that I've explained to you guys thus far, hang on to that. Haleakala, in Hebrew, Helek. Look at the word there. Helek Eloka Mema'al means a portion of God. That's what he gave you, is a portion of himself, and that's what you have inside of you. So the word Helek, which you see here, is part of the word Haleakala. So also, not only that, but here, Halacha in Hebrew it means the way. It's the totality of these laws and ordinances that have evolved and that they all stay constructed too. So the fact that Helek and Halacha are very similar to Haleakala. I don't have the thing down yet, but anyway, it's why they're using this place, you guys. It's a hidden place and it's part of the code. And not only that, wait till you see what comes next. I'm trying to explain to you that I can't put all the finite details on it, but when I was in my life after, the Creator told me he was going to take me out to Maui and show me these things and these powers and attach himself to me or something. But here also in Hebrew, you guys, the Aleph, Lamed, and Hey, which is the E, L, and H in English. Aleph, Lamed, Hey. It sounds like Aloha. So when you're in Hawaii, they tell you Aloha, but Eloha is the Aleph and Lamed and Hey that refer to Elohim. So when they're referring to the same letters, E, L, and H, that are in Haleha, E, L, H, and of course the K is silent. I may not have it all figured out, but I'm on the right path. So the fact that they're taking these names, the fact that the Creator created near at is Maui. I'm not sure. My hat earlier said I am, because that's Maui upside down and backwards. Also, I explained to you guys in one of the other videos about how when you spell Haleakala, which is here, and again, it's in Hebrew, with the numerical equivalents, that the value would be 808, which points to Maui as well. But it also gives us the value of 1318. Let me see what video I put that in so they can pinpoint it, because I don't want you to be wondering about what I'm saying here. Just one moment. It's actually, this Pure Prince Investigates 1916. It was made 2 weeks ago. So check out this. We were talking about the House of the Rising Sun.
In that chair right there, let me show you how it's done. Run on the mountain, run, boys, run. The devil's in the house of the rising sun. The devil's in the house of the rising sun. The devil's in the house of the rising sun.
The devil's in the house of the rising sun. That's the way I took it to mean. Not that it matters much with this word, because it reads the same from left to right. And you have to remember this is in Hebrew, not English. What's relevant, and listen up please, are the numbers, the alphanumeric code to Haleakala. On each end, you have the letter Hey. It is worth 5. The Aleph that looks like the letter N is the first letter, and it's the 1, the first letter. This letter that looks like a 5 is a Lamed. It is the value of 30. The letter that looks like a P is the Kuf and represents the K in Haleakala. So, in looking at this closely, you can see, reading from left to right, 5, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5. I dropped the extra ones because they're not relevant. It's like having a double vowel when you don't need one. So again, whether you're reading from left to right like Hebrew, if you read from left to right, you have 5, 1, 3. And if you read from right to left, you have 5, 1, 3. We're going to drop the center zeros. If you add 5 and 3 and 5 and 3 on each side, it gives you 808, which is the area code for Hawaii or Maui. To me, what that represented was 1318, also area 51. So again, we're going to read from left to right. 5, 1, 3. Add the 5 and the 3 on each side, you get 808. So that gives us Revelation 13:18 in the New Testament, as well as a reason to think that this might be area 51. I know it's a lot of math, you guys, but also I wanted to point out that when Prince sang minor G is the chord of pleasure in Power Fantastic, this here is a minor G chord. And of course, what does it look like? The 808, right? Do you see right here? 808. Now, also, the Moline Quad City Airport, 808. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to tell you that the relevance of Haleakala is pretty deep, and the cover that's being kept in Maui, because if you think about what I told you about the DMT, the silver sword, the fact that Honolulu actually has Lulu, the code for who? Lucifer, in it. The beast is from the east, the house of the rising sun. The fact that the Haleakala is a biosphere. You guys, I saw some trippy stuff when I passed into the life after. And this world is a world of illusions. And so in some way, hell, it was like, I don't know, they were doing something like hell at Haleakala or something like that. Was crazy. I don't even want to say anything because I might be wrong, but check this out. I want to show you this Betty Boop cartoon. Forewarning of things to come. 1939, ringing the bells, trumpets summoning war. But watch what they do when these souls come into hell. Betty Boop, BB, Build Back Better, she's unaffected. But look at the souls that are coming in down underground. They're being outfitted in their devil costume and reanimated and repurposed. Sliding down the chute into hell, getting their tail in their ears, and going into freshman class. The stuff that they show on cartoons on Warner Brothers, the WB, all of it, you guys, it exposed what was to come. And that's all this is now. When I was in Haleakala, down in my life after life, it's being used as some kind of weird underground occult purpose. And Betty Boop doesn't burn, and I'm not going to burn either.